Hello, guys, and welcome once again to another weekly analysis that we're gonna put in out for you guys. Now, last week I didn't take any trade. Just watching the markets, watching the charts, and like we told you last week, we told you that price was most likely we're expecting price to come down and then push higher, right? Price did actually push up and break through this entire resistance, as you can see. But price didn't come down significantly before pushing up. Price, in fact, created a gap. Now, you won't be able to see the gap on this particular chart because you'd see it on another chart. If we had gone there, with another chart is not showing here. But now the point is, price pushed up and broke above these entire um, trend lines, this resistance area. And so we know that, yeah, gold is generally bullish, but now that price has pushed up, people were trying to buy at this area. You can see this. Let me draw this box for you. People tried to buy at this area where price was, which makes sense. Okay, which makes sense. People were trying to buy there, and I could see a lot of people losing money around this zone, right? But I didn't because I was expecting price to actually come back down and fill up that gap that it created on Monday. But price just kept consolidating around this point, and then all of a sudden you see this drop. I had an opportunity here to sell here, but I didn't take the sells. Now the reason I didn't take the sells was because in as much as I knew that price was going to be consolidating, because for the past few weeks and even about 2 months ago, like I told you guys, that gold has significantly moved up, and we are now at a point where gold is just going to be moving sideways for some time. So if gold is going to be moving sideways for some time, and we know that generally gold is bullish, I'm going to be very skeptical just selling, right? I would rather pay more attention to buying in that consolidation. If gold is going to be consolidating, I would rather be waiting for a good spot for price to get down to a support level, and then rather look for buys once the buying opportunity presents itself, right? I'll be more comfortable doing that because at any given point in time, gold could just break away from that consolidation. So in as much as I saw an opportunity here for a sell, I actually saw that opportunity. I didn't take it because I know very well that gold could as well just continue pushing higher, right? So I couldn't take that chance. But then what happened? Gold actually dropped as I expected, and now gold seems to be coming back down to this support area. Now people are going to be looking to buy from here, which actually makes sense, right? So people are going to be looking to buy from this area, which I also am going to be looking for buying opportunities from the zones that we marked out here. But remember, we need to do our top-down analysis. So in as much as we are looking for buys from this point, I'm going to be very careful, because when you go to the higher time frame, you see the reason I'm going to be very careful, right? But I'm going to be looking for buys from this level, right? 3283 level and to 3240 level. I'm going to be looking for buys from those zones, because if price comes down into that zone and then starts giving us good rejections from there, then we can actually get in on a trade. But let's start from the higher time frame so we see what we are talking about. Let me delete this. So let's start from the monthly. Guys, follow this. Make sure you watch this video to the end, and don't forget to subscribe. Like this video as well. We're doing our very best to give you very good education and content. Now, like we've been telling you since the month of April, we told you that gold will most likely start moving sideways. Now, when we got into the month of May, we saw further confirmations about that, especially as the month now really closed as an indecision candle. I told you guys that gold would most likely keep moving sideways, and as you can see, for the past 3 months or 2 months now, gold has been moving sideways. You see this clearer on the weekly chart. But now looking at the monthly, we can see that after this last month indecision candle, gold now has moved up significantly to the close to the previous high the week of the previous month candle, and now we saw a rejection from that point. Now it's most likely, like I told you guys last month, whenever you see an indecision candle like this or a middleman, right? Price will most likely, especially if it's a bullish, if that instrument is generally bullish, you'll most likely see price pull back down to the lower part of that body, or probably to to half of that, 50% of that of the wick that particular candle created. So we should be looking at gold coming down to somewhere around 3187 level or 3195 3195 level, 320, 200 level, 3200 level, right? And then from there we could start seeing rejection from there. Price could even as well come back down to 311, 3119 level, or 3120 level, right? That is, price could come down to the very low of that previous month's candle, right? The very low, the week, the lower part of the week of the month of May, right? So we could see price come down significantly to that point before we start seeing rejections upwards again. So that this level is going to be a very good level for us to actually be looking for our buys from. And that's why I'm going to be very skeptical just waiting, just entering in on a buy on at that support level that I showed you on the lower time frame. Once price gets there, yes, if we see a good rejection from there, we're going to be going in for buys, for our buys. Let me delete, let me hide this so you see this better. Where's that? Okay, now you can see I've hidden the drawings now. So we're expecting price to come down to this very low. Price could do that. Price could also not do that. Price could just come down a little, get into that support level we showed you, which we're going to go back there on the lower time frame, and then we start seeing rejections from there. But it's also very possible that price could actually drop lower, and price could even drop even further down, lower, right? But this level here, this level is a major level we should keep our eyes on, 3125 level, for price to get there. If price breaks that level, the next level we're going to be looking at is this level, 32960 level. But this is our main level that we're going to be looking at, keeping our eye on first. So let's see how everything plays out. NFP has gone. Next is the CPI, but let's just keep a good eye, a close eye on the charts. Now let's go down to the weekly chart, the weekly time frame. Now we're on the weekly. Now looking at the weekly charts, right? What do we see here? We see the consolidation that we've been talking about now for the past how many weeks? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. For the past 8 weeks now, gold has been moving sideways, and it's not. I'm not surprised about that. I'm not surprised about that. So you can see gold moved up to this significant level, and as it got close to this particular point, gold started to reject downwards. Now we can see that the last week candle still closed green, even though we see this massive rejection downwards, the candle still closed green. So we could see price actually push up from somewhere around this level, right? So let me put this on back so you see what I'm saying. So looking at the way the candle has closed, looking at the way this last week candle has closed, we could see something. Looking at the way this candle has closed, we could see something of this nature. We could see gold come down a little, right, to this very low the week of the previous day or previous week, or even sweep that week into this area, and then we could now see it push higher from there. That is very possible. That is very possible. Or another scenario that could happen is we could see gold even push higher, right, and then drop from there, which that's also very possible too as well, right? That's also very possible. But like I said, I'm going to be focusing more on looking for buying opportunities. So my expectations, or my what I'm going to be looking out for, is for gold to come back down significantly to a support level, and then wait for a rejection. Now I know the way some people like to trade, they like to trade off demand blocks, or what do they call it, other blocks, right? Demand support or demand areas, they look for other blocks and all that. Now that's not bad. You could wait for price to get into an order block and then you get in for your buys, but I would rather wait when price gets into a support level, hits an order block. I'd rather wait for certain rejections that I'm going to look out for. Once I see those rejections and candle formations that I'm looking out for and patterns, then I can now get in on my entry, right? So this whole area is a good area to look for buys, right? But like I said, looking at the higher time frame from the monthly and the weekly, uh price could as well really tank very low to this level, right? And we could see price rejecting from here, right? There's another level, as you can see on the weekly, around this area. We could also see price rejecting from this level as well. Okay, So these are levels that we should mark out, right? But I believe if price comes lower and breaks this entire level, then price would most likely even break this level and come lower into the zone. That's what I think. And that's what I believe, right? So let's just keep an eye, because if price breaks lower, then it means that price actually wants to push lower. Now let's go down to the daily so we see what we're looking at. Now, hope this doesn't confuse you. So looking at what we have here, let me delete this since we've passed that period. We are no longer there. We already know what we're looking at. Now, looking at this, um, if we see gold, yeah, if gold comes and breaks this level, you see these boxes, these drawings we have here, these rectangles or so. If price comes into this level, and let me draw this. If price gets into this level and begins to reject from there, that'll be a good opportunity for us to take our buys, right? But if price gets into that level and then we see price breaks that level, then it's most likely we can now start looking for buys lower from this zone. But if price breaks this level, I believe price will most likely come lower into this level. That's what I think. That's what I believe. Price could come lower into this level before we start seeing buying opportunities again, right? That could happen. So we're going to be looking for buys from this first level, which is somewhere around 326 60 and or 61 to 3244 level. And if that level doesn't hold, if this whole entire level doesn't hold, we don't see the rejections we're looking for, then we know that price will most likely come down to 3125 level, right? Price could also even give us rejections from somewhere around the zone 3200 level. That is also very possible. We could see rejections from here. Remember, we're looking at the daily charts, right? But looking at this trend line we have here, this channel, if price breaks lower and starts trading below within this channel, right, then it's also very possible for price to come back down lower into this level, and that's why we told you on the that's why I told you on the monthly, the price could also tank lower, right, into this level to get into the that channel, the lower part of that channel, right? Let's go back to the monthly so we see. I was saying, now you see this. So price could actually come lower, and like I said, if it comes lower, it'll come lower into. If it comes lower, it'll come lower into this support here. This other support over here. Let's go back to the daily that we're looking at. So this is what we have here. So we just need to keep a close eye on it. The most important thing is that gold is majorly bullish, right? Even though we know that we might be in a consolidation for some time, nothing is certain. We don't know exactly what the charts are going to be doing. What we know is that we're going to be looking for majorly buys at key levels. The first level we're going to be looking for buys at is around 3266 level. If that level doesn't hold, we know that we'll most likely be looking at 3200 or 3119 level, right? We're going to be looking for buys from these three levels. Let's just wait for price to move down significantly, and then we look for our buying opportunities. Let's go down to the 4-hour. Let's see what things are looking like there. Now, looking at the 4-hour, I wanted to make this pretty fast. Looking at the 4-hour, let me adjust this since price has already given us what we wanted. Good. So, looking at the 4-hour, like I said, we're going to be watching out for this level. You can see it lines up with this support level, right? So if gold comes down and starts to give us rejection from this zone, good rejections from this zone, then we could actually get in for our buys. But if we see good rejections from here, we could get in for our buys, right? But if we don't see the rejections that we're looking for, if we don't see those rejections that we're looking for, and gold begins to drop lower and tank lower, then we're going to be looking for buys from these other levels, right? So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be looking for buys from these other levels. So let's just keep our eye, a close eye on the charts. Everything is still, it's looking good. Yes, we are consolidating, but there are good buying opportunities that could present itself at these different levels. Okay, they're very good buying opportunities that could present itself at these different levels. So we just need to keep a close eye on the chart. So these are the levels where I'm going to be watching. No need to go down to a lower time frame. Now if you look at the 4 hour, you could see a heads and shoulders pattern. You know, I showed you guys the different patterns I normally look out for. One of the major patterns I look out for is the heads and shoulders pattern. Now if you look everywhere, you see heads and shoulders pattern printing and somehow respecting itself. You see an inverse heads and shoulders pattern over here that got broken, and then our price came down into this level, right? And then has tapped into the neckline, right? So we could see rejections from here. It's very possible we could see rejections from there. And then if you look here also, you'd see another heads and shoulders pattern over here, right? You could see this, right? And right there you could see that it has broken the neckline too as well. All right, so you can see an inverse head and shoulder here. You can see a head and shoulders pattern over here. So same way as prices come down here, we could see rejections from here. Now let me do this like this so you see this better. um Let me remove this. So look at this, guys. There's a head and shoulders pattern right here, okay, and there is another one right here. The neckline has been broken, right? So it's very possible for us to see gold do something like this, come into this level close to that right shoulder, and then give us a rejection and push higher into this level. And once price gets here, we could also see another rejection, and we don't know what will happen from there. Probably it will come lower into the zone that we talked about, right? We don't know what will happen, but these opportunities are there, right? So like I said, if we see a good rejection from this zone and price is giving us the indication that it wants to push higher, right? We take it. We take it. But if price doesn't give us that indication and price breaks lower, then we know that gold is going to most likely push lower and break through this entire level and come down either into this other second zone and come down either into this other zone or go even lower into this other zone, right? So that's what we're going to be looking out for. That's what we're going to be looking out for. Hope you understand. Hope this isn't looking too busy for you guys on the charts. Now if you look at it from the lower, no need to go to the 1 hour. Let's just go to the 1 hour. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, so it's the same thing, similar things that you see on the 4 hour. I think that's enough. Let's go back to the daily. So always try to make sure you do your analysis from a higher time frame. It's always going to help you make a better have a better analysis and make better decisions on your trading. Okay, so looking at the daily is looking quite okay. It's looking good. So we just need to wait and see wait for the reactions that we want to see around this level. Once we start seeing reactions around this level, we're going to probably go in for a buy. But if we don't see what we need and price pushes lower, very good. The lower it goes, the better for us, right? We're just going to be that's going to be a better opportunity for us to buy from a better position, right? And so that's just what we're going to be waiting for, guys. So hope you understand this analysis. I do hope you have a wonderful trading week. Make sure to subscribe to this channel and like this video. And that's it for today. Bye, guys. Have a wonderful week. Peace.